Hello. Um, I've been obviously dealing with this national, really worldwide crisis, along with everybody else. Um, it's very confusing for a lot of people, and I've been trying to brainstorm ways that I can provide some help and support during this difficult time. As many of you know, my name is Jamie Racine, and I am a licensed master social worker. I am clinically licensed and am trained in providing mental health support to people in need. So I just wanted to, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a series of videos for people to watch on skills and ways to kind of cope with this very fast paced, changing environment that we're living in right now. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge all of the first responders, healthcare professionals, and leaders in their roles right now that are working really hard day in and day out to make sure that we are all safe, we are all cared for, and we're all getting our needs met. But that doesn't change the fact that there is a certain element of stress and anxiety that each one of us is feeling. Some are feeling it more than others. Some need some help with coping skills. And so I just kind of want to briefly go over some of those things right now. And then I'm going to break down some things over the next several days into more detail so that, hopefully you can find this to be a mechanism of support while it's kind of limited in accessing support. So we are under obviously a worldwide pandemic. We're dealing with what's known as COVID-19 or the coronavirus. And fear and anxiety, and I'm going to refer to my notes because I've been doing some research today just to kind of be, cohesive. And a lot of you see me when I am kind of doing my live videos with hair and makeup and those kinds of things, but there's a lot more to me than just that. And this is certainly something that I can offer. So I'm going to be referring to my notes. I have been accessing a lot of information through the National Association for Social Workers. That's a great resource for folks. And so a lot of this information that I'm going to share with you has come from both my education and from just that website to help synthesize some of it. So, all right. So, this is what's called COVID-19. And any new disease is going to cause us fear and anxiety. And it can be overwhelming and cause strong emotions in both adults and children. But if you can have some skills to effectively manage these emotions, it's going to make you stronger for both your family and your surrounding community. And we know that our help is going to be needed in protecting our family as well as ensuring that our community is cared for, especially the more vulnerable populations. According to the NASW website, there are specific populations of people that may be having a stronger reaction to this crisis that we're in. So you may fall into one of these categories, or you may know somebody who does fall into these categories. So just be sort of mindful of those people around you. Some of those categories are older folks or folks with chronic diseases that are at higher risk of getting COVID-19. Children and teens, because it's such a fast-paced world and everything around them has just changed drastically. Their normal routine is no longer normal. They're stuck at home. Some are at home with parents that aren't great for them to be around. They don't have safe homes, and they don't have the resources to really be properly cared for. So if you hear of any need and you're able to provide for people, that's a great way to also help reduce. Another group that's also at high risk is people who are helping with the response to the COVID-19 epidemic. Doctors, nurses, healthcare providers, first responders, nursing home facilities, those kinds of things. That's a huge stress. Not only are they going to work every single day and exposing themselves, but they're also putting their families at risk by doing so. So if you work in that category, please know that self-care is going to be abundantly important during this time. And then the last group of folks that's sort of at high risk for emotional difficulty during this time, including stress and anxiety, are people who are already struggling with mental health issues, such as depression, anxiety, bipolar, schizophrenia, any of those conditions, and then some, in addition to substance abuse disorders. So some things to monitor within yourself so that you can kind of just keep doing these self-checks. And there's been a lot of talk about self-monitoring every day, right? So if you're self-quarantined, there's a lot of talk about self-monitoring, checking your temperature at home, making sure you're not showing any signs of symptoms of this illness, and reporting to the proper people if you do. The same goes true for checking in on your mental health and any signs and symptoms of any stress and anxiety increasing. So just check yourself. Are you noticing yourself fearful and worrying? Are you really hypervigilant about your own health? Anytime you cough or you have a sniffle, are you overreacting and thinking that you have this illness? Have you noticed any changes in your sleeping or eating patterns? Are you eating more frequently? Are you not eating enough? Are you going to bed too late, sleeping too late? Are you going to bed early and not able to wake up? Those kinds of things. Are you having difficulty sleeping or concentrating? So does your mind get filled with thoughts about what's going on in the world instead of being able to focus on the things that you're dealing with in front of you, like trying to keep your kids busy or preparing dinner for the night or folding your laundry or whatever it is that you have to do? And if you're working from home, trying to get some of those tasks done, are you having difficulty concentrating on that? If you have chronic health issues, are you noticing a worsening of those symptoms? That can happen due to stress as well. And are you noticing an increased use of alcohol, tobacco, or other substances to kind of help yourself feel better throughout this? So those are some symptoms to be monitoring within yourself. And if you notice those things change or increase, that's a sign that likely you're not coping with this sudden shift in our world very well, and that's a good time to reach out for help. And that can look like calling a friend, calling your pastor, if you have a therapist, calling your therapist, all kinds of different things, taking some PTO time from work and not feeling like you're responsible, just little things. The other subgroup is also that we need to make sure that we're aware of is kids and teens. They tend to demonstrate stress and anxiety in different ways than adults. Some of their symptoms can be similar, but some are very different. So with the sudden changes that they're experiencing, whether or not they're afraid of this virus, their level of stress is very likely to increase. So just be watching for things like excessive crying and irritation in younger kids, excessive worry or sadness. Are they missing their friends so much that it's paralyzing them? Are they worried if you leave that you're going to get coronavirus? Are they, fearful of you going to the store or checking the mail? Check for those irrational fears and worries and talk to them in a way that's going to be healthy for them. Don't lie to them. Don't make things up, but make sure that they feel safe during this time. Are they developing unhealthy eating or sleeping habits themselves? And I think that there's going to be some level of change in sleeping habits because their routines have changed. They're not on the same school pattern as they used to be. So there might be some shift in that, especially for the older kids where their circadian rhythm really does keep them up later biologically. Are teens being irritable, or are they acting out, throwing fits about things or slamming doors or whatever it is that your child does that would indicate that they're acting out that's not normal for them? Are they having difficulty paying attention to things and concentrating? So if you're asking them to do their schoolwork, are they having difficulty concentrating outside of what's normal for them? So for example, if you have a child with ADHD, obviously they're going to have difficulty concentrating, but you as their parent should know sort of where that limit is for them, and are they beyond that? Are they avoiding things that they normally love? So For example, if your child is a dancer and your dance studio is offering online classes, are they avoiding doing those things? And that would be out of the norm for them. Are they having any unexplained physical symptoms, headaches or body aches or things like that? But there's no other reason to think that they're sick. So that's another thing to look out for. And lastly, and this is a little bit more on the extreme side, but are you catching them using alcohol or other substances? And what does that look like for them? So those are just some signs to be mindful of with your teenagers. And certainly, there are many feelings that you're going to have that are natural throughout this whole process. You're going to be expected to have these feelings. Stress, of course you're going to be stressed. Anxiety, grief, worry, guilt, all of these things. And those are normal. You're going to have feelings, but it's how much of your day are they taking up? How much focus are you giving to them? And are they preventing you from engaging in your normal everyday activities as they stand now? Obviously they're different, but in the things that you would naturally normally do at home. It's also, so with that, it's very important to be doing everything you can in the situation to be taking care of yourself. Because if your mental health isn't in check, you're not going to be any good to your family or your community if there's an emergency and you need to make urgent moves or decisions or plans or whatever. So self-care as much as possible. And that is ultimately going to serve you well when this whole thing passes for your long-term healing. We are all experiencing an element of trauma through this. And so there is going to be some recovery that comes when this does pass, because it's going to pass. And I just touched my face, but I've been at my house all day long. So, okay. So here are some suggestions that you can use to cope with this sort of a disaster. Take care of your body, okay? Eat as healthy as you can. Get some fruits and vegetables in there. Try to stay on a good sleep schedule. Honor that. I know we're home a lot more and it's easier to stay up late and watch Netflix, but really try to stay on your normal sleep schedule. Get some exercise. Go for walks. It's okay to walk up and down the street. Walk through the woods if you can. Get some good fresh air. And try to avoid excessive amounts of alcohol or drug use. Avoid drug use anyway. And really, excessive amounts of alcohol is not good. Connect with others as much as possible. And in this day and age, social media gets a bad rap, but right now it's a really good way to stay connected with other people. You could have a virtual book club. You can have a virtual happy hour with your best friends and have a glass of wine. You could I know on Netflix you can do a group hangout watching a movie all together in your own homes. So those are some ways to, and you could be on like a Zoom call or a Skype call or something, but those are some ways to connect with people. Take breaks. Build them into your day and intentionally follow them. Give yourself a chance to stretch. Give yourself a chance to sort of unwind. And outside of that, outside of the intentionality of that, be mindful of your body's signs of stress. So if you start to notice your stress I gave you some ideas of signs and symptoms starting to increase in your body, make yourself take a break, walk away, do something that's going to help bring that down, okay, to keep yourself healthy. Stay informed with factual information about what's going on, but do it within reason, okay? So you do need to know for your own safety what's happening in the world, but it's really important to do it in a way that's not going to inundate your mind with all kinds of rumors or misinformation. My best suggestion is to limit yourself to 2 times per day gathering information, once in the morning and once in the evening, and spend no more than 30 minutes looking at information about what's happening in the world. If specifically you're interested in what's happening with the disease process, look at the website for your local CDC. because that's going to give you the accurate information about what's happening in your community. And honestly, you don't need to know any more than what's happening in your community and how you can help there, okay? Because it's too big and you don't need to take all of that on. It's not your job, okay? If you're called upon to help in your community, go for it. But don't make it bigger than you need to, okay? Just stay within what's happening in your area. And seek help when you need to. Whether it's calling a friend, calling a therapist, doing a virtual therapy session with somebody, calling your clergy member, friends, family, whoever it is that you can go to for support, reach out. Don't stay alone and don't isolate yourself. I think the other important piece is to stay on your own. If you have mental health issues yourself, is to stay on your treatment path as best as you can. Continue to take your medications. Make sure you have enough refills. If you're getting low, call your doctor and get those things refilled, and figure out if you can set up telephonic therapy sessions if that's what you need. So those are just some things that I wanted to share with the world about just kind of how to go through these next several weeks at this point, and ways to take care of yourself. Like I said, over the next several days, I'm going to be doing some more detailed videos on ways that you can manage this and preserve your mental health. This is just sort of like a quick review and overview of things to consider. So look for that over the coming days. And if you have any questions, please feel free to message me, get a hold of me. I am here and happy to help and guide you. And I am excited to get back to just doing fun makeup and hair videos and saving these skills for different parts of my life. So I hope that you all are hanging in there, and this too shall pass. This is only temporary. So be well, take care of yourselves, and be good to one another. Alrighty, bye-bye.